another atrocious development coming out from Gaza. The Israeli military has uh, killed uh, journalist Samer Abudaqa and injured Wa'il Dahduh. Both are journalists from Al Jazeera. Now, as far as the evidence show, there's a 90th, this is the 90th journalist to be killed by Israel, by the Israeli Defense Force and by the Israeli military in the operations, in the military operations and the war on Gaza and the Palestinians. And so far, it's almost, there is a total silence. There's silence by Western politicians, silence by mainstream Western media, silence by the intellectuals that constitute the liberal elite class as well as the conservative class, because they're just aiding and abetting. Total silence. And the question arises, do Palestinian journalists and Palestinians, intellectual scholars, do we really recognize and actually consider their lives to be worthy to be mentioned, to be mourned, to be remembered, and to also call for stopping this assault on Palestinian civil society in its totality? The calls for ceasefire have been almost falling on deaf ears in the United States and among the circle of powers in Europe, even though the United Nations General Assembly voted on Article 377A, calling for immediate ceasefire. The United States, which is the biggest protector, supporter, military provider of resources, and providing the legal international cover for Israel, opposed this resolution and have constantly derailed any effort at the United Nations Security Council to call for ceasefire. The United States has completely lost its standing across the globe, and that Netanyahu has managed to really maintain almost a total discipline of the U.S. Political class, from Biden to the Republicans to all lockstep and barrel behind Israel as it goes up, really hurling down the abyss in this context. So we're again are mentioning another journalist that Israel killed. And we have a long list. This is possibly the most number of journalists to be killed in a modern warfare, if we take out possibly World War I and World War II, but specifically in terms of a targeting journalists as an instrument or as a way of conducting the war. These are not incidentals. The reason, again, even in the case of Wa'il Dahduh, who actually his own family was murdered and receiving warning beforehand from the Israeli military as a way to try, in essence, to target journalists in its effort to indicate or to deal with negotiations with Qatar in this case. So that's a very important, shows a level of deliberateness, systematic nature of it, and including journalists as targets of military operations. We thought that the hospitals were a red line in international law and the Geneva Convention, but now journalists in Palestine, not only in Gaza, but the West Bank, have a target over them or on their chest, even though it says press. Israel reads this press is to press the trigger of an assassin, to press the trigger of a bomb, to press the trigger of a sniper targeting the journalists. And the images that are coming to us from the West Bank as well as from the Gaza Strip indicates that Israel has no limits to its conduct toward the Palestinians, because it feels that it can act with impunity. it feels that the United States will not act or do anything. Not that I'm expecting the United States all of a sudden to realize that there's such thing as international law. We shredded that international law for Geneva Convention in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and other places. We still have Guantanamo Bay, people that are held outside the purview of law. We had torture that has been undertaken by the United States in Abu Ghraib, in Bagram base, and in black sites. So while I'm speaking about the United States, it's really give a recognition of why Israel feels impunity, because it has been aided and abetted and have complicity of the United States ruling elite. It has the complicity and almost cheerleading squad of the US media that allows the press to be a target, just like hospitals were made to be a target. The whole atrocious, despicable coverage relative to a Shifa hospital, relative to how almost every lie, every propaganda piece that comes from Israel was acted upon and made to be a legitimate point of discourse. So on this Friday, we mourn the loss of another Palestinian journalist, Samer Abudaqa. We pray for him and his family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise him in the highest abode of paradise. May his memory, may his witnessing of the war, may his camera that captured the atrocities that committed against the Palestinians will actually be measured for his weight in the hereafter. And we may call on all the journalists in Palestine that are witnesses to genocide, that are narrating the unfolding genocide, knowing first and foremost that they are possibly on the same targeting list that Israel had for hospitals, universities, colleges, and the civilian population. We need to celebrate the Palestinian journalists. In my book, they are the unrecognized heroes in this year for their perseverance in covering war crimes unfolding in front of them, while their colleagues from the Western media almost are on the other side, being embedded with the Israeli press to witness the perpetrators of the genocide. What a contradictions, what a total failure of the profession of journalistic enterprise. What a failure of so-called investigative journalists as we speak, where they're investigating as an embedded journalist with the Israeli military, having all their reports to be cleared by the Israeli military. And I know that the day before yesterday, CNN had one journalist that finally, after the 70th day of bombing, entered into Gaza to cover the unfolding atrocities. So we remember Samer Abudaqa. We pray for his family or those who remain, and he will be remembered as one of the heroes that had his camera as a way to capture, to narrate, and to bring the stories of Palestinians into light. And at one point in the future, those who are responsible for his murder will have to face the scales of justice. So hopefully the days ahead will be more hopeful than today. We continue to be hopeful that freedom is in the horizon, and we stay say free Palestine.